Today's random art supply adventure is using a block of foam. Now hold on there, I know the underwhelm might be sidling up beside you and tempting you to click away, but this blue bit of wotsit is actually heat activated. And you might be surprised by what it can do. I know I was. On the website I bought this from, it is listed as a heat stamp made of moldable foam. And it is yet another product that has been around for a while, but passed me by. What can I say? I am permanently off trend. But hey, this was only £1.50 to buy, and the promise of creating a printing block from found things was too tempting to pass up. Ooh, let's test it out together. So I have my cutting mat here because this block fits nicely into the grid and it will help me to know where to line up my objects so that they fit inside my block surface. Then I also have my silicone mat, which is heat proof and which I can put the block onto when I'm heating it up. As this is my first time trying this block out, I'm going to do a really simple mould first to get an idea of what it can handle. I have these two old keys which I adore so much. Aren't they cool? I'm pretending you're saying yes and not just staring at me with her face. They're metal, so they'll withstand the hot block being pressed on them, and one is thicker than the other, so I can see how deep the block can press down. This here is my heat gun waiting in the wings. It's your time to shine, you blasty blowy Tulio. Okay, I'm not too sure on this first pass how hot to set the gun, and so I put it on the lowest setting as a test. It's fair to say that this is absolutely pointless and does nothing whatever. Moving on, I attached the flat directional nozzle thingy to hopefully concentrate the heat and put it up to a high setting. This works a lot better. Also, after this, I did realise that I needed to move the cutting mat out from underneath the silicone one, as obviously it was catching heat secondhand and it started warping. Duh, silly old sausage. I'm not too sure how long to heat it, but when it seems to be holding some heat, I pick it up, flip it over and plonk it on top of my keys. I press down firmly and hope for the best, which is my general printmaking mindset. As you can see, it did work, but not as in detail as I had hoped. But from this test, I realised that it perhaps needs to be a little hotter, and also that the thicker key is a bit too tall. I think the shallower the items being pressed, the better. While it's still warm, I do press again just for the curious sake of it to see if anything will still pick up, and it does a bit. Then I reheat the foam to test the removal of the design, and hurrah! It morphs back to its smooth surface, easy peasy. With all the confidence of, hey, I've now done this once, I can totally make this work without any more practice, I go ahead and start concocting a simple design. I pop some paper down to help me visualise the space and see a little bit clearer. At first I thought I'd try bending some wire to make a tree shape, and I'm not entirely sure what that is, but it is not what I intended. Then I grabbed really thin wire and twisted it around a centre stick, again aiming for the tree vibes. But at this point, I was very much not feeling successful at trees. However, on unravelling that little mess, I find I really enjoy the lumps and the bumps in the wire and figure that they could be useful in a simpler way. I start cutting the wire down into shorter pieces and laying them across the space. The idea now is to create lines which can represent waves. Let's go with it. I go squirreling around in the shed and find a button and some tiny beads which I figure could work as a moon and stars. After sussing out where to place them, I remove the paper and then finalise the position of everything. I heat up my foam stamp and then press it onto my design. Pressy, 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 press. This is how it comes out. I have no clue if it is pressed deep enough. It kind of looks a little bit underwhelming, but let's just print it and see what happens. I've got this Versacraft ink pad in a forest green colour. Ooh, look at that inky lushness. This can be used on fabric, paper and all sorts, and I saw it as recommended to use with these heat stamps, so let's get stamping. It's super easy to rub the ink across the stamp, and then I grab a piece of scrap paper to test out the first print on. Press! The result is... I'm not amazed by it, though, you know, I can always appreciate the textures of any print. But in my experience, the first is always the worst in printing, so let's give it another go to see if we can get a better one. I re-ink and decide to try it the other way around, placing pressure not on the stamp but on the paper. This allows me to really feel around the block and push deeper into the crevices. The scrap paper is also pretty thin, so I can see the print through the paper, which helps a lot. The result on this one is... oh, so much better! Look at that, it's a beauty! I'm loving the forest green ink colour too. The printed texture is still there, but everything is tighter, and we even have the inside spots on the button, which I am super happy about. I love the darker rims around the stars, and the waves are starting to feel quite glowy. Okay, let's see if we can do a print on something less scrappy. I have these blank cards that I got ages ago in an artful box. They feel the perfect size for this stamp. Let's re-ink and see if we can create a cool card. Hold please while I try my darndest to place this in the centre of the card. Now it's placed, I carefully turn it over so I can put pressure on from the card side. And then I noodle around, pressing without really knowing how it's going, hoping that something marvellous is going to happen. Time for the careful peel upwards and... yay, it worked! I absolutely did not manage to get it centred on the card. But I am so happy with the print itself. Look at the button! This time we got the full centre section and the white edge. It's so nice. Also, very much giving button moon throwbacks. Oh, Mr. Spoon, I remember you. I am loving the fuzziness in this print. The edges of the waves feel soft and hazy, like the water is sparkling in the bumpy bits. I am classing this as successful. I liked it so much, I did try it for another card, trying to get a properly centred one. I even measured it and I put markers on the card, but I think my intensity to get it right made me get it wrong. It got a little smudge in the corner too and was still a bit wonky woo. Never mind. I use water and a cloth to clean off my stamp block, and then I use the heat gun for about a minute to get the surface back to flat. Magique! It really is a clever little doodah. So these are my 4 prints. Number 3 is definitely my favourite, but as with all prints, you can find something good even in the squiffy ones. Let's see what else we can do to enhance them. Starting with the first print, I have a black-grey pen and I'm just doodling around all of the white areas. The further I go, the more it seems like the white lines resemble pieces of rope or wool. It's all a bit random, but I like how this print ends up. Onwards to print number 2, and for this I'm using a white gel pen to add on extra lines and detail. It works really well and is incredibly satisfying. Off camera later I actually added a tiny boat onto the waves under the moon too, which seemed quite sweet. Next, we'll do the last printed card, and using a black pen, I'm creating a block border around its edge to try and hide that smudge and just straighten it all up. I'm not too sure if I like this or not, but in extending the lines across the black with white gel pen and adding more stars too, I feel like this became something not too shabby. I quite like the aesthetic. I'm just thinking maybe a deeper green would have looked better than black. Lastly, it's my favourite print, number 3, and I'm just adding an edge of white on certain sides to straighten and centre it a bit more. It's not perfect, but I think it helps. Now I want to add to this one, but not to overdo it. So I'm using all the bits that I think worked in the other prints, adding some thin lines between the waves, adding extra stars, and a few dots around the big star edges. And this is how I'm going to leave it. What do you reckon? I love the green, but I think it would look nice in a deep navy ink too. Maybe I'll photo it and I'll have a play with it digitally to see how it looks in other colours. That foam stamp was a lot of fun to try, and I'll definitely have another go with it in the future. Let me know if you've tried one yourself. How did you get on with it? Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you got this far, pop a moon emoji in the comments, as I would love to thank you personally for being here. It means a lot that you spent a pocket of your time with me today. Come back anytime. You're always welcome here. Stay curious, keep making happy, and I'll see you next time.